How do you fit gamification into the project life cycle?
Basically, we've kind of been brought up in a society in which currently we're based on merit, so you go through your whole education system based on merit. And so the whole idea of gamification, for those of you who might not know much about it, is the idea that we look at, instead of personal merit things, we use gaming, the way we use games to, say, progress, you gain points, and you use that same principle in a working environment. So the idea of gamification would be more at a personal level to get people to work better, and you gain points for collaborating rather than individual gain. So a lot of the time we work so that we're personally trying to gain and progress up the ladder at work, whereas with gamification you could use those kind of point systems to encourage people to collaborate more.
If I could just add something, I think one of the things that it could be useful for is, we all know if you share too much information you get in trouble and you get told off, and we know what happens about that, but there's nothing on the other side to encourage you to share when you should, and there's no punishment for not sharing when you ought to. So you could use these tools to sort of encourage. Yes, we've got like this fear of sharing too much, but on the other side we've got to make sure that we know there are consequences when you don't share information that is vital to progress the project forward.
Will there be commercial issues for businesses wishing to use these tools? For example, if the army wanted to use Twitter, would they have to buy it?
I mean, one of the things we've sort of said today is that we've proved by doing it that the tools for this sort of work are there, but that they might not be appropriate for a secure environment yet. So there are going to be issues like that. There are some technologies emerging that might just go around those, like Yammer, for example, gives you a more private social network. There's work that he's doing, absolutely. I don't think this is something that we could go home today and implement a policy that suddenly makes us able to use this in a team defence environment. But one of the things we want to stress is we need to get you guys to all start looking at how we can implement this sort of tech in the secure environment that we're in.
An audience member states that they believe that team defence is starting to get better at secure collaboration now.
Well, that's good. I think one of the Twitter questions that came up was, can we really do this by 2020? And I think the sorts of things that we've heard from you and from people speaking earlier today seems like we are moving in the right direction, and there's definitely, we've got some buy-in, and it seems like it might well be possible.
How will emerging technologies today change the shape of our businesses in the future?
I hope the short video of us doing the collaborative working sort of gives you some indication of how we did this project. And the stepping stone we have to cross is how do we do that in a secure environment, because we can see how we want to work with no barriers. As soon as you go into team defence, there are all sorts of barriers. So hopefully it will look something like what we showed earlier.
Does this mean we will see less taxonomies and more use of search engines, for example?
Yeah, I think certainly structured taxonomies, they're in some ways a little bit dated, and they're sort of suited to particular ways of working. So unstructured data, let's say with Google, allows you to sort of find what you're looking for quite quickly and easily. And if that's the case, then yes, you'll be able to find what you're looking for potentially much easier than using sort of structured data.
I think the way we work is quite organic as well, so it developed as we went along, so there wasn't that set structure originally. So that meant that actually we've not had problems going back and searching and finding things, it's just happened naturally.
Are businesses missing out by not pushing decisions to younger levels?
I would say there's always a value in getting a fresh pair of eyes on something regardless of age, and what you might find is if you can find a way for a younger individual to get into these sorts of situations, you might find them asking all sorts of questions like, why do we do this and not that, and why do we spend so much time on this, and you might well find you get insights that you wouldn't have had from the older generations just because of the fact of digital natives having grown up with this tech. So I think it might well be worth a try, yes.
Why was the vision for 2020 based on emerging technologies rather than brand new ones?
No, I think one of the attitudes we took, well certainly that I took, was that we know that the defence industry can't always be, using the most modern technologies in the world, and there's good reasons for that. One of the things we were trying to say was that the technology to do this stuff exists today and we've proved it, and we would like to get that into defence as fast as possible so that we can use all these great tools that already exist. So I expect by 2020 there'll be even newer tools than those that might be even better, and it's going to take some time when they come along to look at how we can work those in a secure environment.
I'd just like to add to that, if we knew what was going to be available in 2020, I'm sure most of us would be setting up our own companies.
Thank you for watching the Digital Natives question and answer session at Defence Information 2013.